Let's say that at 4 p.m. on a Friday, the closing bell rings at the New York Stock Exchange, and an announcement goes out over the intercom stating that the markets are closing for exactly 365 days. This wouldn't be due to a sudden economic crash. Global regulators just decided it would be interesting to see what happens if capitalism takes a gap year. The first thing that happens is a sudden drop in electricity usage in northern New Jersey. Around 65% of all stock trading is handled by automated high-frequency algorithms running on server racks inside massive, aggressively air-conditioned data centers. With the live data feeds cut off, these algorithms would spend the next year repeatedly attempting to trade against nothing, which computers traditionally handle by producing long strings of increasingly worried error messages. This turns out to be surprisingly good for the local environment. Shutting down the server racks would save about 2.3 terawatt-hours of electricity worldwide, which is enough energy to run the entire country of Iceland for roughly 2 months, or one particularly determined Las Vegas hotel fountain. It would also mean the giant cooling fans finally stop blasting hot air into nearby fields, allowing the local mice living near the ventilation ducts to experience weather conditions normally associated with outside. By week 3, the concept of price discovery completely stops working. If you own stock in a tech company, you legally own a tiny fraction of a business that manufactures supercomputers. But since nobody can buy or sell that stock, its official value cannot change. If the company invents a revolutionary new battery, the price stays the same if a sinkhole quietly consumes their primary semiconductor fabrication plant and 3 employee parking lots in Austin. The price also stays the same. Financially, these are now identical events. On paper, the company is exactly as wealthy as it was at 4 p.m. on Friday, even if the headquarters is currently being evacuated by forklift. Financial news networks would quickly begin running out of things to point at. After several weeks of flat charts, analysts would slowly drift toward treating traffic congestion, weather systems, and unusually confident pigeons with the same breathless urgency normally reserved for semiconductor earnings reports. Normally, thousands of regular people cash out small amounts of investments every day to pay for things like groceries, emergency plumbing repairs, or boats they should not be financing. With the exchanges locked down, people would have to get creative, turning parts of the economy into a highly regulated form of Craigslist. You would eventually see a retiree standing in a suburban driveway trying to trade a physical stock certificate directly for a vehicle. Since calculating the exact change for 0.004 shares of Berkshire Hathaway involves too many decimal places for a standard dealership calculator, on a Tuesday afternoon, a used car dealership manager would probably throw in 3 boxes of vintage lawn darts and call it even. By month 6, index funds hit a major legal wall. An index fund like the S&P 500 is legally required to hold shares of the biggest companies in the economy. If a massive energy corporation goes completely bankrupt and dissolves during the pause, its stock still cannot be traded or removed from the index. The fund is legally forced to continue holding it, meaning your retirement portfolio now contains partial ownership of a company that exists primarily as paperwork and a padlocked office building in Houston. Meanwhile, options trading software would begin developing philosophical problems. Because stock prices haven't moved in 6 months, the math would conclude that market volatility is exactly 0. The equations would calmly determine that financial risk has been eliminated from Earth, even if an actual hurricane is currently moving through Florida, carrying someone's trampoline into the Atlantic Ocean. This remains mostly manageable until day 365, when the markets reopen. For an entire year, the real world kept happening. Elections occurred, CEOs resigned, crops failed, companies merged, and at least one billionaire definitely attempted something medically unnecessary in international waters, but none of it was reflected in stock prices. During the shutdown, automated trading programs wouldn't just sit idle. They would spend 12 months aggressively simulating what the market should look like based on the news. The exact millisecond the opening bell rings, a year's worth of buy and sell orders would hit the exchange servers simultaneously. The resulting traffic jam would overwhelm the infrastructure almost instantly, causing rows of computers in northern New Jersey to catch fire in a very organized way. Somewhere in Ohio, 11 months into the shutdown, a retired dentist is still standing in a driveway trying to convince a car salesman that partial ownership of the American economy should reasonably cover a used riding lawnmower and at least half a snowblower.